That's right. I appreciate everyone who's tuning in to the Friday night show. It is the Chicano Hour. Don't forget to hit that like. Let's go through the formalities. We know what we got to do first. Beautiful linda raza, man. Gracias all the day oneers, man. Gracias everyone inside the members only. The members only has been rocking with me since day one, man. I appreciate the members only, the pledges. There's something 99 just to keep the positivity of life, to keep the cultura alive, to keep this movement that we got on YouTube Landia alive. I appreciate the members only more than they know. Again, all the Chicano, all the Latino, all the brown people, all of the pages, man, and Califas, I appreciate you. More than that, all over the nation, right? Like Crucito said, right? When he was in the van, he said, a Latino world, ¿verdad? So shout out to everyone that's tuning in. It's Friday night, cabrones. We made it through the first week of the second quarter del año. So I hope it's blessed. Again, estoy dando un reto a todos, man. May 2025 be the year the best version of you comes out again. You know, even if it's not your prime, your prime years are probably your teenage years, early 20 years. Let it be the best version of you that comes out right now. Whatever you got to do to get back on it, get back on it. There's too many excuses. The excuses live in your head. All you got to do is keep it pushing and keep it moving in the right direction, man. But I appreciate everyone. Before I bring my mi hermano Cholo Trucker onto the screen, I got a few announcements. That's right, Daniel Salazar. I appreciate you, my boy. That's right, Daniel Salazar. One of the members in the members only is in the casa. Here's another member, Machete. Droops is in the casa. Miss Chicano Tube is in the building. She's just stopping by as she's watching The House of David. She's taking a little pause to go ahead and check into the studio. I appreciate you. I'll be home soon. I promise. All right. Again, gracias to every single one, man, that's here. A couple announcements. We got about only one spot left on the town hall. That's going to be April 16th at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We only got one seat left. 7 out of the 9 that we have right now are all new guests, new faces. Gracias a Dios that this thing is taking life in of itself, because I believe these are community issues that are related to brown people, related to the raza, you and me. And this is something that we got to talk about, whether it's politics, ICE raids, immigration, health, all of these things we want to focus on during the town hall. These are influencers that have a reach. So I'm excited for that. That's April 16th is the April town hall that we got coming up next. So don't forget that one. It's coming up real soon. As I go ahead and bring to the stage mi hermano. Take a second, though. Go ahead and set up what you got to set up over there. Do what you got to do, hermano. Can you hear me, though?
I can, Mikey.
All right, I'm going to have to put on these headphones right here. Hold on, cabrón. All right. And so I think that's all the introductions. Let me see the town hall. Next week, next Friday, I got science teacher. He's joining me, science teacher from Salinas, so we could break down my DNA results. Because my DNA results came back. We're gonna find out, is Mikey Mexicano? Is Mikey Miklo? What if he's not? What if he's faking the funk? What if is Mikey an iron jacket? I don't know, right? So we'll find out next Friday. That's on 4/11 at 7 p.m. with science teacher. Without further ado, Cholo Trucker, how are you?
I'm good, man. Gracias so much for having me on today, man. I do have a question for you for that DNA reveal. If it comes out that you're like part Samoan or something, right? Part Japanese, will you start taking a little bit up on that culture?
You know what? Science, I would say yes. I would say let me at least dig into it, because the DNA actually comes back with the countries of origin too. It's pretty expansive. There's a lot in there. I would say yes. I would say I would embrace everything. I have from the beginning, even though I've had indigenous, guests. You've seen them on here, right? Indigenous teachers might not lean toward the Spanish side, right? Some of them have told me we don't emphasize the Spanish side, and I'm like, well, I do. But that's just me, hermano. That's next Friday night. It's interesting. And science teacher, he's gonna break down DNA, the molecules and everything. But to be honest, carnal, he doesn't put too much on those tests.
Would it matter to you the percentage? Like, let's say you find out, I don't know, it's 1% Japanese. Would you really dig into the Japanese culture, or does it have to be a certain percentage, like over 10%, for you to actually, think like, you know what? Since it's that much percentage, I'm gonna look into that culture.
You know what? I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna look into all of them. But some of the small percentages, I mean, if they're significant, some of the small ones, carnal, I think they're more filler. Like, why is there like a bunch of ones and twos? I know it's to make a round number of 100, but I don't know. I don't want to put the cat out of the bag, but I would say what Kiawi said. Shout out to Kiawi. He said the largest percentage is pretty much who you are. The largest percentage. And then another beautiful thing about that, carnal, is that ancestry DNA, it links you with other familia that have taken the same test. It's not public information like Facebook or anything that you put public. It's basically anyone that took the test and doesn't make their information private. You'll be able to find 100 cousins on there. I got second or third cousins. I don't even know who they are, but it's saying they got 15% DNA, 20%, 10%. So that's next Friday night. Let's go ahead and keep it moving, though. We got Cholo Trucker in the house. Just do me a favor, beautiful linda raza. Subscribe over to mi hermano's channel, Cholo Trucker, 2 words. Go ahead and subscribe to that channel right there. Run those numbers up, mi hermano right here. If you don't know who Cholo Trucker is, he is the first Chicano to ever put on guantes on this YouTube thing, get in the ring and do his thing. Not one time, but 2 times. I don't think there's anyone else that has stepped in there 2 times. So that's who Cholo Trucker is. On top of that, he's an entrepreneur, businessman. On top of that, he loves his cultura. He's outspoken and no tiene pelos en la lengua. Those are the kind of people that I like. They don't hold back. Hermano, enough of the introductions. Let's go ahead and get into it, cabrón.
Let's do it.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up something on the screen, and I want us to go ahead and your opinion, just react the way that I do. You see how I run my shows, carnal. I like to get into the comments. I like to get feedback. I like to interact, maybe even sometimes open up the phone lines. Possibly we might open up the phone lines tonight about 7 or 7:15. But Cholo, I wanted you and I to react to Do Know, the popular, it says right here, TikTok star Do Know. I wanted us to react to, he got in the ring 2 days ago, his first boxing match, and I wanted us to watch it first off and then react to it. Is that okay?
Yeah, hay que darle con gas.
Dale gas, man. Here we go. I'm going to turn the volume on. Gente, this is Do Know stepping in the ring. If Do Know can do it, you can do it. What's your excuse? Let's go.
Well, work time.
Oh, it's fun.
I'm tired. I know. Just move around. Yeah, don't rush it because you're getting tiring right there. I was tired. They said a boom and then back.
I was only 1 round. And then we got an extra 10 seconds.
The only
4. You're cardio now.
And just to make it clear, the guy with the white shirt is doing it, right?
Ready? Let's go. Nice work, buddy. Here we go. Here we go.
Do know.
Damn.
Ready, guys? We'll work time.
Oh, maybe they go 3 rounds. Okay, this is round 3. 2, fall. No. Okay, we saw that. Okay, we saw that. Cholo Trucker. I want to get your overall thoughts on the boxing debut of Juno, popular TikToker. He's from LA. What are your thoughts
Um, listen, man, he got in there
Oh.
and he threw him, which is what I always say should be the number one thing, right? I don't really care too much about, form or, oh man, does he have hands? Does he doesn't have hands? Everybody believes that they got hands, man, until they actually get in there. But hey, man, he got in there and he swung them. Do we know who the other vato is? The guy with no shirt? I mean, he's pretty bold, man. He felt very confident without a shirt on.
Not just that, he did have some kind of movement. Obviously, he has boxing shoes, the guy without the shirt. I'm thinking he might have been maybe part of the gym.
Yeah, probably, man. And Duno just I like it, man. I like it. Duno just said, you know what? On this madre o todo madre, man. He just gave it all, man. I like it. I like it. He just went forward. He knew he probably wasn't gonna outbox this guy, so he just he gave it everything, man. I like it. I like it.
Okay. So Cholo Trucker says he saw corazon right there. A couple of things I want to point out. One, people might be asking, well, why are the lines blurred? Why does he have like a blurry little covering up here? That's called the plumber's crack, gente. Okay, that's called the plumber's crack. So they're just covering it up because nothing graphic or gets shown on YouTube. And I'm just joking around. Second thing, I don't know if you noticed it, but in the second round they try to touch gloves. And when Duno extended the gloves, Black Helmet just threw like Floyd Mayweather, kind of like a Victor Chavez thing. I don't think it was on purpose, but you know how it is, Cholo Trucker. You've been in the ring 2 times now when your heart's beating.
Yeah, man. It just showed it right now when you were talking about it. He tried to extend a hand like, hey, let's touch gloves. And like you said, Black Helmet just said, like, Charlie, we're just gonna start throwing chingazos. What I did see is that after Duno did have a little bit of blood like coming out of his nose, man. So they were throwing, man. I respect it. I definitely respect it. Gotta respect Duno. I don't really know too much about him. I've heard his name here and there. But I definitely respect for him to getting in there. And you're right. The guy in the black helmet, he moves around a little bit more. It looks like he's a little bit more seasoned. Not saying that, he looks like he's a professional boxer or anything, but looks like he's probably been in the ring a few more times than Duno, man.
Yeah, and that was Gacho, man. He's falling down, Cholo Trucker, and they do slow motion. They do a little sound effect, and then they do an explosion when he hits the ground. That's Gacho editing, but you know what? Shout out to them, man. They got their money right there. You're looking at 2 boxing aficionados right here. You're looking at me and Cholo Trucker. We could just talk boxing 24/7, 365, period. So I would like to see Cholo. I would like to see a firestorm of people just getting in the ring and doing it. Why not? Because it's entertaining. And I think it'll lift up their stock, as far as their brand goes. Duno's video already got like 200,000 views. And I know it was my first box. It had something to do with the title. My first boxing match. And then que ya mero se murió. I mean, okay, that's a little dramatic, but sometimes they get dramatic para que la gente taps in, ¿verdad?
Yeah, man. I would say, look, whoever's refereeing this match has to do a little bit of a better job. There's a lot of rabbit punches. I get it. It's not professional boxing. You're just letting these guys, throw chingazos, but, there's some rabbit punches, some dirty movidas going on here. But I would also, say this, man. The corners, right? Like, are they really preparing the fighters? Are they giving them, when they went to the corner, like right here, I didn't really hear much like, hey, man, do this or do that, or I see an opening here, or I see an opening there. It was just give the guy some water. It's like, oh, man, I was dying a little bit, joking around. It's like, okay, cool. Yeah, I might want to give him a little bit of coaching. But, yeah, see the guy in the black helmet, man. He moves a little bit. He moves around a little bit better, but también he's doing some dirty stuff too, man.
Yeah, he's getting in there. They're throwing, they're pushing, they're shoving. There's elbows almost too. Like right there is the pulling down a little bit of the head. I saw a little bit pulling down of the head right there. But you're right. This is internet boxing, whatever you want to call it. YouTube boxing, internet boxing. That guy in the ring, he's not a referee. I don't think he's a referee. He's not stopping the action at all. When we do the series of fighting, Carnal, that we got Chicano rules, and Chicano rules are meant to create a good fight. That way we don't get too technical on people that aren't technical, and then the people feel like there's too much interference, too much separation, too much not letting them throw. And that's why I made Chicano rules. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like,
and don't sleep on the music. Did you hear the music? It was like a little video game music, man, like a little video game from the 1980s.
Oh, yeah. That's some Street Fighter music. You're right, man. Don't forget to, Carnal, I'm going to have to hit movies and shows. I have to hit movies and shows. Now, as far as 90s movies, man, I don't know too many. I don't really spend the 90s watching movies. We did desmadre in the 90s, but the 80s, I was glued to the TV for the 80s, carnal. So you bring on those 80s películas, you're going to have to catch me on movies and shows, gente.
Yeah, man. I'm having a good time over there. We went live testing our sister, Jen Magana, on how much she knows action movies yesterday, man. So she impressed, man. She impressed, but she doesn't know the movie American Ninja, so.
Okay, with the Gavacho. He was badass Gavacho. He had like a flat top. That's not Sean Penn, huh? No,
that's Michael Dudikoff. Okay. But I would say that what was Duno doing this for? Was there a reason that he was doing it? Did he just want to show up and do this? Do you know the genesis of this?
I don't know the beginnings of this. I hope it continues though. No, not at all. I like the long format video, because the long format video shows the vlogging, which is what people want, right? People want to see content. They want to see wrap your hands, maybe talk a little bit of masa. Obviously, they have headgear and bigger gloves. So it's a sparring match, but don't get it twisted, man. Sparring is just like another fancy name for fighting. You know what I mean? But they were pretty much throwing everything. I'm surprised they didn't gas out in the very first round. But in the intermission of the first round, I heard Duno say that ya estaba bien cansado. Maybe they gave him 2-minute breaks in between. Oh, there's the Victor Ortiz.
Yeah.
Right there. You seen the overhand? So
yeah.
Duno, I mean, the reason I think they did it, Carnal, is something new, bro. Put something new out there as far as content. I mean, people just put the same content out there all the time, which is fine. That's up to them. But when you mix it up, I think the people appreciate the content. Just something a little bit out of the box, different.
Yeah, man. And just to find another guy as big as him, or almost as big as him, to get in there. I mean, it was entertaining. As short as it was entertaining. I've seen it a few times already, and I'm like, hey, you know what, man? They go in there, they do it good, throwing chingazos. So the headgear, with the headgear and the bigger gloves, you still see do no bleeding. So, I mean, people can say, oh man, headgear and big gloves, you get hit, man. It's still going to draw some blood if you get hit good. The punches are still going to have some sort of hurt behind them. So, good stuff. I'd like to know why he did it. Was it just a challenge for him? You know what? That black helmet, dude, if you look at his calves, he's got some pretty decent calves. So, yeah, that's why he's moving around the ring a little bit better.
You think he's got some legs? That's why he does some workouts, some box jumps. You're right. He got some calves. Yeah. I noticed the shoes. Not everyone gets. Well, Duno has boxing shoes too, ¿verdad? Or are those nice?
I'm not sure. They're matching his gloves and his helmet.
Maybe
I don't know what's up with his trunks, though, man. He should have threw some trunks on. I'm sorry.
Or tight them up, right? Lace them up or tighten them up a little bit. You don't want a wardrobe malfunction because when you're throwing chingazos, that's the last thing you want to think about is, oh, my chores or all my shoes or anything like that, right? But
you want to get an extension cord and make sure you wrap it around you and tie that sucker on good, man, if you don't have a belt or something.
Do something, man. Do something. That way you could just throw chingazos at will and let it go. That's right. The professionals in the casa. That's right. I appreciate you, man. Felipe is strong. Oh, is that Duno? Is that his name? His name is Felipe. That's right. I appreciate you, man. All right. So enough of that one. I just wanted to give his kudos over to Duno because he did do it. And a lot of people, well, they won't even get in the ring because when you fall like that or get dropped, the internet, if it's on the internet, they will clip you. And if it's on the internet, it's forever. That's what makes a person like Mile High or you, Cholo Trucker, take it seriously, right? The last thing you want is the internet to clip you, and it's forever.
I'll say it again, man. They could clip it all they want. They got in there and they did it. They got in there and they did it, man. Anybody can criticize it. And look, to a certain degree, I mean, you could have fun with it. Orale, those panzones going at it. You could have fun with it. He's showing the plumber smile there. That's why they're blurring. Put the little Street Fighter music. You can have fun and make fun of it and everything. But in all reality, once it's all said and done, hey, those vatos went in there and they threw chingazos, man.
That's right. In the comment section, just went ahead and let us know who's in the black trunks. His name is Felipe. Felipe is in the black trunks. So we got Jose. I appreciate you, cabron. Hey, kudos over to them, man. I'm going to go ahead and keep it pushing. Cholo Trucker, I wanted to get your opinion on this that came across my feed. This, Cholo Trucker, is a situation that happened to some güeros. So basically, these güeros were camping, Cholo, and next thing you know, un chingo de raza just came all around them, set up shop, and overtook everything. And let's listen.
Please be considerate of the people that are already there before you. This is insane. Those people are literally...
All right, let's watch it one more time. I want to hear.
Now, did you guys see that JOP was getting backlash for defending La Raza?
Liam and I just got to our campsite. We've been here overnight, and Saturday during the day. And this just happened, and it's forcing us to leave. Our camp has literally been infiltrated. Please be considerate of the people that are already there before you. This is insane. Those people are literally 30 feet from the door of my tent, which isn't geared toward any certain demographic or anything like that. I mean, if anybody did this, my reaction would be the same, but literally being pushed out of our own camp.
So then he made a caption. I thought the hour drive along a very technical trail would be our ticket of solitude. Boy, I was wrong. Our peaceful camp was ruined by inconsiderate people who decided to set up literally feet away from my door of my tent. There were dozens of them. They played their music so loud I could hardly think, and the reckless driving of their UTVs, I counted 20, was too much for little Liam to handle. We left a day early. Don't be these people. It's a public area and should be enjoyed by everyone. End of rant. So JOP actually commented, sometimes people just want to have fun, brother. Just go to a different spot, especially if it's not your property, brother. It looks early as well. People have the right to be loud. Just my opinion. And a lot of people didn't agree with JOP. Some people were saying that's incredibly rude. That was no accident. They were trying to force you out. Start bumping some Metallica. Rawr! Don't let yourself. Yeah, that's annoying, especially if you go out for peace and quiet. All races have inconsiderate people. You're valid for your reasons.
All right. Now I want to get Cholo Trucker's opinion. So it looked like to me, Cholo, I'll give you my 2 cents first. It looked like he went to a spot where, he tried to get to a spot, but if it was just him camping, that whole little cove or something like that, it looks like it sooner than later, it probably would have got full of people. I mean, he said he 4x4'd it on some trail that he thought it was going to lead to solitude, but it didn't lead to that. And then when he gets there, all of a sudden, a bunch of raza gets around him and basically sets up the party around him. Mesas, carpas, food, tents, 4x4s. Is that, Cholo Trucker, in your opinion, is that inconsiderate of the raza to do that? Or is it, no, you're SOL because you can't have this whole place to yourself if you're just, 2 or 3 people inside of one tent, etc. What do you think about that, Cabrón?
Yeah, you know what? I think a lot of things could be true at once, right? There's a difference between what is allowed at the campsite, and there's another thing of what is being considerate to your neighbor. Okay, and all these things can be true at once. And I think when people start arguing about it, you're arguing about things that are all true, right? So does this güero, does he own the campsite? No, he doesn't. So does this raza have the right to go there and blast their music and do what they did? Yeah, they do. Okay, but morally, is it inconsiderate? Yeah, in a way, it pretty much is. Now, he said, this güero here said, just according to him, that they decided to set up shop right next to him. I'm assuming there's more room where they could have set up. Was it on purpose? Like, hey, you know what? Let's get these white people out of here, man, or something. Again, were they breaking any rules? Not that I know of. But does it mean that what they're doing is right? No, it doesn't mean what they're doing is right. They're being inconsiderate, especially if you see a family with a young kid. I'm gonna say, hey guys, you know what? We're here to party. They were here first. Let's go somewhere else. Let's go somewhere. Now, do I have to do that? No, I don't have to do that. I could say, oh, well, because the chingan, so you know what, right? I could say, no, heck no, man. We're going to set up here, and if they don't like it, they could leave. But again, morally being considerate, I wouldn't do that. So I think a few things can be true at once.
But what if they spent money like on the carne asada and everything and had this whole thing planned out and they got like 5, 6, 7, 8 cars and you go and you find one little tent, no matter si son güeros or whatever kind of raza, you got one little tent. Are you really going to just cancel the whole thing because of one tent to be considerate?
No, well, that's what you got to take into consideration. That's what I'm saying. Was that the only spot available for them? If that was the only spot available for them, like I said, are they breaking any rule? No. If that was the only campsite that was there, then this guy right here, the güero, needs to understand, like, okay, this is the only spot in this campsite. I can't just show up and say, now it all belongs to me. Right. So that's what I'm saying. The raza, if there was other spots available and I saw a familia that was there and I'm there to party, I'm not going to set up shop. But if that is the only spot, I'm still going to feel a certain way. But we made the plans and you don't own the park, homie, and it's unfortunate. But nonetheless, I think all these things are true at once. You could look at it from all sides, and there's really no wrong answer other than, hey, man, is there no other spot? This is it. We're going to party. So, hey, man, the park doesn't belong to you, man. If there's other spots, I go to the other spot.
How about give him a pisto at least? You know what I mean? Give him a beer, give him a pisto. Hey, wey, de coraje, wey, ten. You know what I mean? Give him a pisto. And okay, I wanted to get your input on that because again, this is JOP, and he's just one of the influential top right now Mexicano scene. I don't even know what kind of music he does because I don't follow JOP. My bad, but I know he sings Spanish music. I just don't know what kind of music. And just because he got involved and he said, "Hey, it's not your spot. It was early in the day." I put myself in the güero shoes. He kind of feels like. He kind of feels like my whole plans are canceled.
Yeah, that's one thing that people need to understand as well. Put yourself in this father's shoes, and then you got a bunch of weirdos that show up. I like Metallica and Guns N' Roses and all that stuff, but I mean, you're there with your family to spend nice, peaceful time. You're not there to party. You get there early so you could get your spot, and then a bunch of weirdos show up, start blasting their music, start drinking. You're not there to drink. You're not there to party. You're there to spend time with your, 8-year-old little kid and your wife. I mean, how's that going to look? How are you going to feel about that? Again, are they doing something wrong? Probably not. Inconsiderate, yes, but nonetheless, you don't own the park. So, I mean, all these things can be true at once. So I think people need to put themselves on both sides of the coin on this one.
And people go to the internet, cabron. You know how it is. They'll go to the internet, and it's really just, I don't know if it's to bring awareness. It's just the rant, just the vent. I think people go to the internet, right? They record themselves, and then, and then they'll start getting the feedback and the comments. They're either on your side or they're not on your side. What I like to do, cabron, is I like to look at it. The last thing I want to do is look at it because with skin color. That's what I don't want to do. I don't want to look at it because some people look at it through skin color and they'll be like, pinche güero, this and that. And well, the güeros did this to us and all kinds of stuff. If you take that out of it, stop looking at skin color and just look at what's right and what's wrong. This is a tough one to call because can the güero claim that whole little cove? I mean, and he put himself right in the middle of the place, not even toward the edge where you could at least have a piece of shore, right? Like, what if you had a little section? No, he put himself right in the middle. If he put himself right in the middle, cabrón, of course lo van a rodear de todas orillas with the tables of food, the 4x4 cars, the tables, the tents. How about he would have just took a section and then claimed a little piece of the shore? I think he would have had a good experience and he wouldn't have had to leave instead of right now, well, I got to leave and I'm ranting. So that's how I look at it. Taking everything else aside, I feel like he could have got his own little piece and still enjoyed it and not had to leave early. I don't know.
Yeah, and he didn't say that he's leaving. He's saying he's going to another spot. So, I mean, if that's the case, then there was more spots available. But I get what you're saying, Mikey. It looked like there was 2 picnic benches there. So if it's just you, your son, and your wife, you only need 1 picnic bench. So just go ahead and set up shop, pick a picnic bench, and you set up shop there. Yeah, you cannot be taking up these all these picnic benches, man, saying like, well, I was here first, even though, I mean, I get it, man. You show up there early, there's nobody else there. It's like, oh man, you know what? We got this whole spot to ourselves, right? Until other people come. And then it's like, okay. But I think the thing here is, Mikey, is that both groups were there for 2 different reasons, right? Would it have been a problem if the raza was there to spend time with family? Probably not. But one group was there to have family time, quiet time, while the others were there to party. Nobody's doing anything wrong. They're both doing what they're there to do, and that's where they're bumping heads.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And again, he just wanted a vent. He went out there, but I'm like, cabron, why you put yourself in the middle? I would have claimed a little piece of land or a little piece of shore and just been, okay, this is my little section. You know what I mean? Now, I would have probably got a little bit annoyed if someone was just, DJ blasting music or something like that. That might mess with my head a little bit, but that's not going to mess up my whole plans if I need a little piece of agua, me, my familia out there camping. This just reminds me, let me take that off. Cholo Trucker, do you remember when tourists were getting mad in Mexico because of the bandas on the beach?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there were tourists that were going out there and they were straight güeros. I mean, eran gabachos. All of them were gabachos. That music's kind of loud. And what happens? What does the restaurant do? Because the restaurant wants the feria, cabrón. Yeah. They don't want to lose the money. They send someone down to the beach and all of a sudden it gets into a situation. What do you think about that? People travel over there. If that's the culture over there, hey, las pinches los tubos y tamboras. I mean, you got to kind of take it. Or what do you think?
It's you touched on it, Mikey. I mean, it's basically what the money draws in. You know, one doesn't have to like it. You know, for example, Pearl Harbor, right? We all know the attack on Pearl Harbor. What a lot of people don't know is that on Pearl Harbor, there's one celebration and then one memorial, right? The memorial is by the Americans. Okay, the celebration takes place earlier that day by the Japanese. Japanese are allowed to go there on U.S. soil and celebrate their victory on the bombing of Pearl Harbor. They're there with their flags, they're celebrating, like, yeah, we won this battle, like, yeah, damn right. And there's soldiers that are still, you know, in the ships under sea, right? Now, why is that allowed? That seems morally wrong for the Japanese to go over there and celebrate that. Well, it's allowed because the Japanese bring a ton of money to the economy to Hawaii. So is it wrong morally because they're there celebrating before the memorial of Pearl Harbor for the Americans to go there and mourn and you know, bring the flowers and all that? Yeah, you could say it's morally wrong, and I would agree. But at the same time, there's so many Japanese in Hawaii, and they bring so much money to the economy. It's allowed. So unless anybody's gonna go ahead and, you know, throw a bunch of feria to Hawaii and say, like, here, run the economy with this feria, then it's just gonna be that. So yeah, I saw the whole thing with the bandas and everything. Yeah. But if they want the Americans or the gabachos coming down and spending feria, and that's where they're making their big bucks, it's unfortunate, but it's one of those old sayings, Mikey. The customer's always right because they got the money. At the end, you're there to make a profit. So culture, no culture, you started a business, you started a bar, you started a club, you started all that, right? You wanna inject your culture into all that, but whoever brings the most money, that's what's going to change, man. That's what's going to change anything. You go to a sports bar, right? You want to turn it into, I don't know, man. You want to turn it into a freaking a Raider bar. It's like, oh man, this for all Raider fans. You know what I mean? Nothing but Raider fans. But Raider fans actually go to another sports bar, and what you're having is a bunch of Bronco fans roll in. I mean, eventually you want to keep your doors open. You want to keep your doors open. So eventually you start showing the Bronco game.
Bro, that was crazy what you said. They let the Japanese celebrate their loved ones or winning the war, and that's happening on American soil. So are they celebrating Americans que murieron?
They're celebrating their victory of Pearl Harbor. The Battle of Pearl Harbor. Obviously, they lost the war, but they're celebrating the victory of the
battle
of the attack of Pearl Harbor. Yes, so they're there. They're celebrating. If you see it, man, you know, they got their flags. They're cheering and everything. Like, yeah, you know, like it's a happy day where our people came and we won, we attacked, and we beat the almighty Americans. You know, and it's allowed. The Japanese bring a lot of money to the state of Hawaii.
Let me ask you this, Cholo. Something came across my feed, and it was, I don't know if you've seen this, cabrón. I think it was in Texas. They have proposed to build a city, and this city is going to be, I don't know how this is coming about. I don't even know how this is structured legally or permissible, but they're building a city in Texas that's going to be a predominantly Muslim city that's going to be under 100% Sharia law. And that's happening here in the United States. So they're going to practice Sharia law in una ciudad that is going to be, no matter what religion, right? But this is the facts. It's a Muslim community that inside of the United States, do you think that could incite something? Do you think that could lead to problems? Sharia law is very clear, cabron, that one thing they don't allow is the women to get exposed. Those are the women que están tapadas hasta, they look like juggernaut, just covered all head to toe, right? Like you can't see nothing. And then another thing that Sharia law is totally against is, men, women, without saying it, all that kind of stuff right there. Do you have a problem? Do you think that that's going to be an issue?
One, do I have a problem with it? Yes, I definitely have a problem with it. However, America is a business. The country is a huge business. China is buying up a lot of property. The ports where, we get all our goods that come in, it's not even owned by the United States. This is the ports, right? Where we get a lot of our stuff that comes in through containers. It's not even owned by the United States. So America is up for sale, as much as you can buy of it. For them to go ahead and do this, again, personally, do I have a problem with it? Yes. If anybody knows me, and if you don't know, I'll let it be known. I'm a red-blooded American, man. I'm a patriot. I love being an American, man. However, look, it's a free country. I'm not really sure, Mikey, how they're going to go ahead and do this. So they're going to build a little city in Texas. This is the first time I hear this story. So they're going to build a little city in Texas. So so they purchased property to build this city.
That's what I'm understanding.
Okay.
And then somehow legally they can enact their own Sharia law to govern it.
All right. There's this one vato, man. There's this one vato, and I don't know if a lot of people know this. He has his own country in the state of Nevada. I don't know the name of it. He has his own property in Nevada where he was able to purchase it to himself outside of the state of Nevada. I'm not sure. I can't give you guys all the details. It's been a while since I've seen this story. It's been quite a few years, but there is a country in the state of Nevada. It's just this one-man country. It's a small piece of property. I don't know. It's a few acres. I don't know, 2-3 acres or something. He has his own flag. He has his own everything. He is not part of the United States. That property is not part of the United States. I don't know how he did that legally, but he did do that. Is it still a thing? I don't know. I haven't looked into it in quite a long time, but I thought it was interesting. I'm just not sure how they're going to be able to have their own laws and stuff.
Yeah, no, that's a true. I think people figure out how to do paperwork or how to do, go through these processes, and you'd be surprised, what you can accomplish if you just pursue it. That's what sounds like that individual. When I saw that, my thoughts were like, yeah, it's America. And of course, people are going to allow a lot of things because freedom, right? It's built on liberty. It's built on freedom. But then at the same time, like we had talked about in the town hall, certain things kind of rub people the wrong way. Like we were talking about the flag burnings. Remember the flag burnings? We were talking about that during the town halls. That's a trigger subject because, again, you said you're a red-blooded American. I mean, I am too. I'm a red-blooded American. Love this country. I believe we're in the best country in the world. That's why I'm here to raise my kids, and my kids will be here. But then they allow certain things like this to happen, and I don't know. If these issues come about from this city that's governed under Sharia law, only time will tell, I guess, right?
Would it be something like an embassy? I mean, you do have embassies in other countries where they have their laws. So would it be something along that line?
That's a good question. I'm not exactly sure. I didn't even bring up anything on that as far as, to read or anything. But we'll keep it moving. I got something else. We're going to go ahead and move on. Is there anything else you want to say on that?
Just real quick. So they're going to have their own schools, own laws, own everything. So anything with driving licenses, anything of that sort. So they cannot come out of their, I'm assuming this. They cannot come out of that city, that town, whatever it is that they build. There's going to have to be some sort of border then, right? Because it's going to be their own country.
Or is it just a city that it's not like they're not going to prohibit people from moving in over there, but it's kind of like in Utah where they just have huge pockets of Mormon communities.
Yes.
You can live here if you want, but you just got to know, aquí rifamos Mormon.
I mean, there's cults out there. There's cults out there that don't allow you on their property. So, you know, so
there's cults out there.
I don't. I'll be honest. Look, do I like it? No, I don't like it. But if they're going through all the legal processes, I mean, what else can one do? I'm just simply saying I don't know how they can go lawfully to say like, no, we're gonna have our own laws. They could say this is my property, and on my property, these are going to be the rules. Maybe you could do something along that line, but I don't know how they can do their own laws and things of that nature and then travel outside of that town or that city. That's the part where I'd like to look into that.
Yeah.
Into that story. This is the first time I hear of it.
Yeah, this is in Texas. So shout out to Texas. That's coming down the pipe. It came across my feed. I take it to be true. I hope it is. But anyways, let's go ahead and bring something else on stage. I wanted to bring your attention over to a situation that also happened in Texas. This is coming by way of Nino America's page. So shout out to him. We like to give credit. Did you hear of this situation, Cholo? I'm going to go ahead and read the caption. I think there's a video, but it says, outrage is growing after a 17-year-old student was stabbed hasta la muerte by another student during their track meet in Texas. Let me see if there's a video. No, that's not a video. That's a photo of the assailant. That's a photo of the victim. And this is the whole story. I thought I had a video. Let me see if I have something I could play with that. And no, I don't have a video. Okay, so in this story, Cholo, there was a track meet. This is what happened. There was a track meet. And if you can see on these bleachers, Cholo, what the schools do sometimes with their booster clubs or just the schools themselves. Hey, this is, our tent, our space. Everyone that's going to be in this tent knows each other, right? Well, this was the gentleman on the left. He was from another school. I don't know who was hosting it. I don't know if it was a neutral track. I don't know none of those details. But I do know that he ended up going over to the tent of where this young man, his name is Austin Metcalf. They go to his tent, which obviously has his people, and they're kind of looking at him like, what are you doing here? You know, you're from another school. What are you doing here? Well, the individual on the left, Cholo, he snapped. He lost it. He snapped. He took it to the max, pulled out a filero, and he le pegó en su pecho. And it was so he stabbed him, and he has a twin brother. This guy Austin has a twin brother, and after he stabbed him, el hermano rushed over there and held him in his arms as he was passing away. And his final moments was in his twin brother's arms. And the internet is having a field day with this Cholo. And you probably already know why. Because the internet, we probably already know what I'm going to say, sees skin color a lot. They see skin color. So first, I want to get your thoughts on this. And then I also want to ask you, Cholo, what if it was the other way around? And we're looking at skin color now. What if it was the other way around? Y era el güero that did that. Do you think it would be now on the major 6 TV networks instead of just a couple pages on social media? Because right now it's just on a couple pages on social media, and it's almost like getting swept under the rug. So I want to ask you your thoughts on it. And what if the shoe was on the other foot?
Well, for one, if the shoe was on the other foot, I do think this story would blow up a little bit more. Race is definitely probably the most sexiest issue to talk about. That opens up people's ears, people's interests, people's feelings. Like this country is so obsessed. The people are so obsessed with just talking about race. Right. So I definitely do think had it been the other way around, it would have been a much bigger story. You know, my son was in track and field. So I'm very familiar with a lot of these track meets. You go to different schools, you go to, you know, it's actually pretty cool, man. Different schools show up and it's fun. I've never seen anything like this. I'm starting to wonder if maybe there was a little bit of history. It's kind of odd for me for one guy to go up to the other guy and just, you know, hey, what are you doing here? I don't know if maybe they had some sort of issue before. Maybe one of them's dating some high now or something of that sort.
History.
I'd like to know what is it that caused him to go over there. And not only that, but like I said, I go to a lot of these track meets and you just walk in there. You know, you have all types of family and everything of that sort. You just walk in there. There's no metal detectors. There's no anything. This dude brought in a filero. I mean, I don't know if he had the knife on him, if somebody gave it to him. But yeah, man, you just walk in there and there's a lot of people in there, man. So, you know, this is going to start, unfortunately, this is going to start making schools put metal detectors for a lot of these track meets and sporting events and patting people down and things of that nature. Because you just can't have these things happening. And like I said, I'm assuming there's some sort of history or something happened, even if it was just they bumped into each other on the way to the restroom, right? And one guy felt disrespected. Even if it's something like that, it's kind of odd to me that he's just going to go up to him and, hey, what are you doing here? Let's, you know, if you want some trouble, you found it, Holmes. Let's handle.
Yeah, and so these are other photos that are circulating, Cholo Trucker, on social media. It says Carmelo Anthony posted the photo on the right just hours before stabbing Austin Metcalf hasta la muerte. The other photo was shared 6 weeks ago. So, I mean, does that display his character? I don't know if it does. To me, it displays his juventud, just being dumb and doing young, dumb shit.
Okay, and look, everybody, be careful on what you post, on what you're showing yourself to be. Something can go wrong, right? Maybe it's something that you didn't do, but you just happen to be around at the time. They're gonna go look at your social media. If they see you with cuetes out there, if they see you trying to be, you know, all gangster with it, and you're like, hey, I didn't do anything. Well, you know what, man? I don't know. These pictures show a little bit different that you're into this kind of stuff. Everybody, be careful on what you're saying and what you're doing online, man, because that right there, the pictures that you just showed, Mikey, is not going to help that dude. It is not going to help him. He's there. He's smoking. He's got the lighter. He's got the cuete. It's not helping his case. And just to talk a little bit about earlier, what you mentioned, if the shoe was on the other foot, if it was the güero that stabbed this young black guy, and he had pictures like that, yeah, those things will be blasted all over, television, man. It'd be all over the place.
Yeah, absolutely. And it just shows that the news is not even the news no more. It's basically an agenda. It just depends who the owner of the station is and how they vote. And that's exactly what's going to happen. So again, yeah, just like you said, Cholo Trucker, have you seen that people have been doing like these hood vlogs that have become kind of popular? Hood vlogs. They're going in neighborhoods and they're recording themselves and they're throwing up gang signs. I just talked, when I started seeing this get popular a couple months ago, I was going to the juvenile hall meeting and the camp meeting once a month. And I absolutely brought this up, man. And some of the youngsters were like, oh, absolutely not. Hell no. They were like, my probation officer would come, knock on my door, throw me in el tambo otra vez, and we ain't doing none of that. Why do you think these hood vlogs are getting so popular? Is it just for content? Because literally they are giving intelligence over to law enforcement by saying, yes, I gang bang. Yes, this is my turf. Yes, those are my enemies. And yes, these are my homies. What do you think about when people do those hood vlogs?
You know, there's a lot to be said on this, man. I know it's very easy to come down on youngsters and say, man, youngsters, they're putting everything out there. They're putting everything out there. We didn't have social media when we were young, right? Young and dumb. I do believe, has social media been around, I do believe that a lot of us would have been doing the same thing. There was this magazine called Teen Angel magazine, right? I was on that magazine. I was on that magazine with a quiete, man, throwing up a gang sign, right? But there wasn't any social media. So these people are living in a different time, trying to be, you know, active with it. And it's not so much that they're trying to, I get what you're saying, Mikey. I don't think they're thinking about law enforcement. They want everybody else to see that they're gangster with it. And living that life and growing up like that, that's kind of what it was really about. You want your reputation out there, right? You don't want the Judas to bust you for it, but you want everybody on the block to know that you're a real one. You're not, there's no social media at that time, but you want your name to be out there. You want your reputation to, you know, to follow you around, like to have some sort of weight, right? Social media now goes further. So now you got a lot of people that, you know, become some sort of star through social media, get some sort of following. And it's like, yeah, I'm a real one. I'm a real one, which again, to those that care about that stuff, that's what they're seeking. They're seeking approval of, I need you to think of me that I'm a real down ass fool, right? They're not going to say that, but that's really what it is. It's like, I need people to think that I'm a real gangster, homie, that I'm really down with it. And that's how it was when I was young, right? You don't say that with your words, but you just live that with your actions. And it's like, hey, everybody needs to know that I'm a true gangster until the Judas roll up. And then it's like, hey, man, I didn't do anything, dog. I'm just walking here minding my own business, you know? So, I mean, I don't know what's up with them, Mikey.
Here's one right here. We're talking about Duno, who did the boxing match on the very first part of this live that we did. And he likes to do hood vlogs also as well, as you can see right here. I know what you're saying. People are like, hey, you think it's attention? You think it's just cool or because at the end of the day, this helps out law enforcement.
Right. Yes.
This is intelligence for law enforcement. So when I talk to the youngsters, I said, unless you want to give law enforcement this intelligence to put a 10-year gang enhancement on you, then go ahead and take these photos and do these videos. And all of them were like, they looked at each other like, oh, hell no, Mikey, you got us messed up. They're like, we don't know what you're watching on the internet, but you ain't never going to see that down at Roosevelt or Cesar Chavez Park. And these are the parks over here in the neighborhood in Salinas. You ain't never going to see that. So why are they posting these photos on the internet, cabron?
And you know, like this picture right here, right? Let's say one vato gets busted for one thing, right? Something major. The Judas have the faces of everybody on this picture on who to go press and question and go harass, you know, for answers. So, I mean, like I said, I is it foolish? Yeah, but look, man, respects to everybody, but that whole lifestyle is foolish. And I don't think, you know, back in the day, I would have been doing the same thing. I got pictures, man. I do. I was going through a shoebox. I got pictures of myself, you know, with homies and everything. It's just there wasn't social media back then.
No,
it wasn't social media. Thank goodness that, you know, I have a different mentality now that there's social media, that I'm not, you know, doing things like that. But I do believe if social media was around before, I think everybody would have been doing it. Yeah, I do. Without the thought of, you know what, man, this could get me busted, right? I think the ones, I will say this though. I will say this. The ones that are really truly doing crime, right? Either they're moving some heavy weight or something of that sort, like they're really involved. Generally speaking, not all, but generally speaking, probably don't involve themselves on social media.
Yeah, they're chale. They say chale when it comes to this stuff. There was a funny
Right.
comment right now. Miss Gangster Piggy said, "The dog," and she's laughing at the dog. What do you think about the dog? Is that a vicious dog, Cholo Trucker, that would have you jumping over a fence?
Hey, homie, I didn't even realize, man. I didn't even take a look at the dog. That perro, man.
Pobre perro, man. All it wants is food and water, and they're putting a pinche paño on his neck. The perro's gonna catch a bullet, and all it wants to do is be loyal to his master. That's gacho, man.
I think that's a dog. That's a dog that you display on like one of the television puppy shows, man. Like the dog shows that they do the little jumps through the little hula hoops and everything like that. Yeah, homies, you gotta get a different dog, Holmes, from that picture, man. Come on, man.
Yeah, the thing is, Cholo, I've had photos like this. They've all been taken away. Every single one of them has been taken and never used against me like evidence or anything like that. But they just were always taken, just like they'd always take scanners or I mean, cuetes. Of course, you're gonna go down with that. You're never gonna ask for them back, but. Yeah, back then you were saying we had those CVS cameras that were in a bin, and you had to go and develop them at Royal with film, or you had Polaroids that would shoot it. This is a bad idea. I'm gonna say it again for the last time before we move on. This is a bad idea because every single one of these guys right now just self-admitted something to the camera, and I'm not putting this against Duno. Duno's gonna do what he does. I mean, everyone's a man, a grown man. You can do what you want. You have a choice, but I'm not putting this on Duno. But these hood vlogs are a real bad idea. Bad.
Yeah, I agree. If you're really truly gonna live that life and you're gonna be a gangster and you're gonna be committing crimes, it's not a good idea for you to be showing. It's different taking pictures and having them for you and your homies and things of that sort. But it's different when you put it on the internet, man, for everybody to see. It's not a good idea. If you're going to be a true gangbanger out on the street committing crimes, which you shouldn't be, but if that's what you're going to do, definitely not a good idea to be putting yourself on the internet like this, man. Throwing up gang signs and everything. And I just want to add this one last thing, Mikey, before we wrap this subject up. I went to a funeral. One thing that stuck out to me, Holmes. I went to a funeral for an OG of mine he was from a barrio in East LA, man. Well known barrio, a man I really looked up to, really respected and everything. And I went to his funeral, right? It was probably about 5-6 years ago, somewhere around the pandemic area. And I was seeing pictures of him, right? You know how they do the pictures of just scrolling, right, through his life and everything. And he was in the army, and there was pictures of that. There was pictures of a lot of him with his family. He was an older gentleman. He was like 60 years old, somewhere in his 60s, right? And it made me come back and look at all my pictures, right? And I looked at all my pictures. There wasn't one picture, not one. I got like 3 photo albums and like 2 shoe boxes of pictures. There wasn't not one picture of me where I'm either throwing up a gang sign or holding a bottle of alcohol. And that right there made me realize I need to make some new memories, man. I need to make some new memories, because if I were to kick the bucket, I don't want those pictures up there, man, like that. You know, so for anybody who's doing these things, understand, man, you know, the image that you're putting out there. And ever since then, I really you know, for one, I'm not throwing up any gang signs when I'm taking pictures anymore, but I really started making a lot more memories with pictures and videos and things like that, man, that I can really look back and cherish a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly. When you go to funerals, they have usually like a little tag board or a cork or bulletin board, and they'll put the photos up there. But damn, if all you have is that, then that's all there ever. That's all there is. So no slideshow, and there ain't gonna be a slideshow.
I'm glad I have a lot more pictures now. Between then and now, I have a lot more loving. Even pictures with my kids. I had pictures with my kids still with a pistol in my hand. You know, I had. There wasn't one picture, not one picture, where I was either or both of them together, throwing up a gang sign or had a bottle of alcohol in my hand. So that's changed. That's changed. So
yeah, those gang enhancements, they will get you, man. They will get you. They're not gonna have mercy, especially in California, man. They will get you. All right, let's keep it moving. I wanted to talk to you about this one right here. This has been on the news, Cholo Trucker, and there's conflicting information. I did a clip about this. Let me see, make sure you can see it. I did a clip about this from the White House podium. They made a statement about this situation, but there's still 4 or 5 major networks that are saying, just let me read it, and then it'll make sense. Judge orders the return of a Maryland man mistakenly deported to El Salvador and sent to CICOT. Okay, so that's the maximum security prison in El Salvador. And so here's the conflicting news, Cholo Trucker, is that they keep saying that this man was taken unlawfully. But there are photos that have him all blasted up, MS-13 all over his body, and the White House podium says, no, this guy, 1, he's MS-13, and 2, they gave about 4 bullet points. I can't remember all of them, but they are certain that they got the right man. Now, the error, they're saying this was an error. They're saying the error is this, Cholo, is that he might have came over here and they classified him like an asylum case. Okay, they classified him like an asylum case. And when they classify you as that, there's like this, what is it called? You have this kind of protection, right, around you where it's like, hey, he got to stay here because a lo mejor mataron su familia or whatever the situation was. I tend to believe a lot of people seek asylum, and if they just say the right thing, that way they can have this kind of blanket protection. But the White House is claiming they didn't make a mistake. No, there was a clerical mistake, but that just has to do with his asylum status when he came in here, but that he was involved in trafficking and he was MS-13. So you got half of the networks saying what I just said on the White House. No, actually 2 networks saying the White House. 5, 6 networks keep saying the White House messed up, innocent man. What do you think about this? And he's sitting in CICOT in a high maximum security cell in El Salvador. Should he be there or should he be in the United States?
And that's what it all comes down to, doesn't it, Mikey? That's what it all comes down to. Truth and belief. I think people get conflated with that. There's conflation that goes on. There's a big major difference between truth and belief. What the truth is, we'll probably never know. What we believe, that's a different story. It's who you choose to believe. Now, can it be that this guy changed his life? Can it be that maybe he was, you know, from that barrio once upon a time? That's why he's all tatted up. Right. And then he changed his life. He doesn't do that anymore. But you could use that as evidence, as saying, like, look, take out of his shirt. Look at the pictures. Look at him. He's all blasted up. Of course, he's from this barrio. Maybe he changed his life. Don't know. Now, if there is evidence that he was involved in this trafficking and everything of that sort, then I'm not really sure what one can go against. Right. And like I said, it's networks, it's news, it's politics, it's exactly what I tell everybody: truth and believe. Okay, we don't know the truth. we just choose to believe this or that for whatever reason. For whatever reason, you choose to believe this or you choose to believe that. How would they deport him, Mikey? If it was a mistake, like what would they catch him for? I don't understand. Why would they pinpoint him out? There's a lot of vatos from that barrio, all over the country. Why would they point him out and say you're one of the ones that got to go? That's a question that I would have.
I think they use the trafficking as a way to remove him. You're right. I'm glad you brought up that point because it goes back to that saying, don't judge a book by the cover. We don't know what's getting put out there. They show his whole back end blasted, a big old MS. But again, is that just to sway public opinion in one way and be like, see, they're doing a good job. See, yeah, exactly. Right. Or in the other direction, when they say, oh, they're deporting the raza and all the Mexicanos and they're just picking people up on every corner, when it could be some kind of strategic, some strategy that they're deporting certain people, right? People in institutions, people that are gang members or traffickers or removal orders, etc. I don't know.
So what? Okay, so what's the defense for him? What are they saying? Because I don't really know too much about the story, but what's the defense of them saying like, no, this was a mistake. He shouldn't have got deported. What's the defense?
The defense is the asylum status. The error they're talking about, they're saying that if he had asylum, he should have not go back to El Salvador.
Okay. So it's not that he's innocent. It's just that he has asylum.
Yes. And the error, they're calling that an error because it's I guess technically it shouldn't happen, right? You send them back to a country that you process paperwork when it came over the border to not send them back. But does that apply? It's kind of like when someone has a visa, Cholo. If someone has a visa is not a permanent thing to stay in the country. If you do something wrong, they can snatch that visa up from you, right?
So, right. Okay. So that's the point that I'm trying to get through is, all right, they targeted him for something. If the defense is only because he has asylum, thus he should stay here, then they're not defending that, hey, he's not who you guys say he is. It's just he has asylum, so he should stay here. So he is guilty. So even the defense, that's what I'm trying to get to. So even the defense is not saying that he's guilty. I'm sorry, that is not saying that he's innocent, that he's possibly guilty of all this stuff, but because of the asylum, he should stay here. That's their defense.
Yes. It's that the clerical error they should have just left them alone. Again, it goes back to, like I said, with the visa, bro. If you have a visa, that's not permanent. If it was permanent, you wouldn't have to renew it every 5-10 years.
Yeah. I mean, now that just comes up to, should he be incarcerated here or should he be incarcerated over there? I mean, that's basically because if nobody is arguing that this man is innocent of the crimes that he's being accused of, then what are we arguing about? That he should be incarcerated either here or there? Nonetheless, he's guilty. I mean, it makes a difference for him personally on, all right, can my family come visit me? They're not going to go down to El Salvador to go visit him. So I understand the fight for him. I just don't really understand the fight for everybody else, because if they're not arguing that he's an innocent man and it's just he's guilty, but let's incarcerate him here. I mean, I'm kind of with you, Mikey. I mean, I don't know how far the legalization of the asylum goes. Can you just break any law? Can you go ahead and traffic? Can you do all that? And no matter what, the country can't get rid of you? I don't know. I don't know about that.
I would say no. I would say I don't think so, cabron. Did you hear about the other Cholo Trucker? Did you hear about the other story about that corrido group, Los Alegres del Barranco, and they were doing a concert in Mexico? And I'll pull it up right now. They were doing a concert in Mexico, Los Alegres del Barranco, and on the big pantalla, the big screen behind them, they put the shock collar a photo of El Mencho, the shock collar of the CJNG, Nueva Generación down there, the cartel. They put a big photo of him on the pantalla and they're playing. And you know what the United States did that same night? They revoked all of those people on that group's visas. All of their visas got revoked. And a lot of people were saying that's wrong. A lot of people were saying, well, it's kind of like if you did a concert and you put a pinche on the big old pantalla behind you, you put a Bin Laden up there who ha matado miles y miles, allegedly, I don't know, but Americanos. It would be the same thing, un terrorista, the same night that got leaked on the internet, the United States revoked all of their visas, finding out that they had visas to come over here to do shows, travel, and make money. What do you think about that, cabrón?
Okay, this concert was in Mexico?
Sí.
But they did have visas to come here?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, the country has the right to say, like, you know what, man, we're not going to have your visas anymore. I mean, that's all that. Look, there's so many things that go on, right? I mean, we could talk about concerts that happen here that people have, worship for, or big put, blasted murals of somebody else where it's like, that wasn't that the great of a person, or that person got some sort of rap sheet. But in this case, we're talking about corridos, which we know what they sing about for the most part. I don't really have an issue with it because it's the country saying we have the right to revoke your visa. I mean, that's if you have a visa, a country can say like, you know what, man, it's no good anymore, for whatever reason. If this was the reason, then that's the reason. Is it a little petty? I mean, yeah, I guess so. But I mean, you got artists here that do these things as well, right? But they're American citizens, so you can't just boot them out, right?
Simon,
them doing this in Mexico, I don't really have much of an issue with it.
Okay, so they're both in the right. The U.S. is in the right for maneuvering within their rights to revoke the visas because no le caen anyone that glorifies these kingpins. Is Mencho, is he free or is he in custody?
That I don't know. I do a boxing show with David Contreras, who worked with a lot of the cartels in Mexico, and he's got a lot of 411 down there. He talks to me a little bit about it off the show, of course. And yeah, he's mentioned that cartel numerous of times, man. I mean, I could find out, but I don't really get too deep in it. But
here's an hermano that says, now that the now that the USA government designated cartels as terrorists, they can revoke their visas for them saluting the guy. Oh, okay.
You know what? Shout outs to Pastor Zamora. That's Pastor Zamora right there out of the Apple Valley.
That's right, Pastor Zamora. We appreciate you.
Yeah, I mean, look, look what they're doing with that barrio, right? Where the dude got deported. I mean, heck, if you're from that barrio, if you got it all blasted up on you, yeah, the country's getting serious on all this stuff, man. So, like I said, do I have an issue with it? Nah, I don't really have an issue with it.
Okay.
I think it's fine. I think it's fine. I'm not saying like, hey, I wholeheartedly support it. I mean, it's here in the U.S. You got people doing it, but just like I said, they're American citizens, so you can't get rid of them for that reason. But foreigners, Mexico, or from any other country, if they see that, hey, you know what, you're worshiping, you're moving this way, or you're idolizing this or that, and I don't know, man, I really don't want that in the country. Revoke your visa. There you go.
You made your bed, lay in it now, cabrón. You made your bed, lay in it. Cholo Trucker is a man of law, the man of the law right there. Hey, the law says they can do it. Well, it's the law. I want to bring this last one. This is going to be the last topic of the night. I appreciate you guys that are tuned in on IG or on Facebook, or if you're tuned in on YouTube Landia, do me a favor and just subscribe over to also to mi hermano, mi Chicano hermano, Cholo Trucker, his YouTube channel, one of the YouTube channels is called Cholo Trucker. He's got several, cabrón. I don't know how you manage that, but at least subscribe over there to the main channel, Cholo Trucker. Cholo, did you see this come across the feed? This señora now has gone absolutely viral. Her name is Doña Carlota. And let's go ahead and play the video. And then I want to get your reaction. Let me bring it up and play audio from the beginning. Here we go.
74-year-old woman named Doña Carlota gets arrested in Chalco, Mexico for pew-pewing 2 people. And they did not make it. And now people are calling for her to be freed. They're saying that she did nothing wrong because those 2 people that she did that to were actually squatting inside of her house. We have all of the details to tell you in this video. She had an unoccupied home in Chalco, Mexico. She found out that there were individuals living inside of there, so she decided to tell the authorities. But the authorities showed up and they did nothing about it. Doña Carlota decided to take matters into her own hands. She told her family member to drive her there. Then she hopped out of the vehicle. You could see her right there holding the thing in her hand. And she 2 of the people that were living inside of that house. Now that video was actually posted on our ex, 44 Vibe TV. La Doña was then arrested, her and all of her associates. Mexican authorities actually uploaded this picture right here, La Doña with all the different things that they caught her with. And she's now even being sent to prison. You can take a look and see all the different police officers that are surrounding her. But people are saying that Doña Carlota should be freed. They're saying that she did nothing wrong, but other people are saying that you cannot do this in any country that you're in. Chat, what do you guys think about this one? Free Doña Carlota or keep her? And some wild news as a 7.
Wow, this is crazy. Basically, Cholo Trucker, don't laugh, cabrón. Don't laugh, cabrón. Don't laugh, cabrón. That's not right, Cholo. You better not laugh, cabrón. That's not right. No, basically, this is in Mexico. The United States, they get away with that, right? Did you hear about that Salvadoran blogger that got deported, and he was coming over here and he was talking about getting free welfare, free food stamps, free this, and he was talking about you can sit inside people's houses, and that there's a law in the United States that if you sit inside people's houses long enough, you can go to court and claim possession of the house. But Doña Carlota didn't play that. When she visited her house that was supposed to be empty, she found squatters. And the only thing, her instinct, Cholo, her instinct was to grab the Fusca, go back. ¿Cómo van a salir? Van a salir. And she did. And there was 2 bodies that resulted. So what do you think about this? And free Doña Carlota or keep her?
Yeah, you know what, man? There was a story, and I'm sure it happens because when I was watching this story, not this one right here, but a few years back, when I was watching the story, it had said there that this happens pretty often. And there was this person in Nevada, outside of Vegas, where they had squatters in their home, right? And lawfully, it was kind of hard to get them out of there. So it was like, I don't understand the way of the law. If she contacted law enforcement and say, hey, listen, this is my pad, get these fools out of here. I don't know. The stories or this gentleman said that the Huda showed up and they didn't do anything.
Yeah.
So what did they show up and do? Did they talk to them? Did they do anything? I would say to this lady, I think she's got a good defense. I don't know how the laws work in Mexico, but I don't know why she just doesn't come out and say they came out and attacked me. I mean, is there any camera? Is there anything shooting? I mean, it's her property. She's there. I went into my house.
Cholo, you're not saying to have her tell a white lie, are you?
Well, here's what I'm saying, Mikey. Here's what I am saying. Here's what I'm saying. It's your house. Yes, maybe it's vacant. Nobody lives there. You walked in there. You already have the police report. Now, if she walked in there just to smoke them, that's one thing. But that's going to be tough to prove. if she walks in there and she says, I told them to get out of here and they came at me, so I let them have it, that's another thing. I don't know. We don't know. We don't know exactly what went down. Did she just really go in there and start blasting? Did she go Rambo style? I'm not sure, man. I have a hard time believing that that's what happened, but it could be. It could be. She could just say, like, Buddha's ain't doing anything. I'm sick of this. I'm going to go in there and just let them have it. It could be. I mean, the details matter in all of this, but nonetheless, it was her house.
So free her or keep her?
I would say she still has to go to court, though, Mikey. I would say she still has to go to court. There has to be something that has to be proven. I don't know how much she should really need to be fighting for, her freedom. But at the same, she called the Judas though, so a lot of me is leaning towards her favor. It really is, because she did contact law enforcement, and I'm leaning more towards her defense, definitely.
Okay. There are, I love the United States. I believe in most of the laws are very just and fair. And like you said, some of them also don't make sense. And Mexico has a history of copying of I don't know if you want to call it the big brother or the United States, just because they're neighbors. That's what I mean, brother. But sometimes they copied most of the Constitution, right? Freedom, liberty, and things like that, right? And also United States followed suit, right? Because Mexico was first to abolish slavery, and then United States. But there's certain things I wish Mexico didn't try to copy, and they could distinguish themselves by having different laws. The United States makes all kinds of red tape for squatters that go and sit themselves and set up shop inside your house, and they go over there and they protect them, where I wish Mexico didn't copy United States in this sense, and that no vas a salir por mis pinches pantalones, way. And then you go and grab the Fusca, and then, but then you would have, like you said, a defense, but the law has to back you up in that. And then she got arrested with 2 or 3 other people, all in this group. For me, Cholo, there are 2 people that lost their lives, unfortunately. I don't think it had to go to this extent if it was just one of her rental properties. I have a lot of clients that have rental vacation homes. And then sometimes they say, it's Mikey, sell it. I'm not going to go back to California, sell it or whatever. And they hardly come, and so I don't think it vale la pena dropping 2 bodies, because they're squatting inside your vacation home. But again, if you're old school Mexican, you feel like they're putting their hand in your pocket, you're going to feel some type of way.
Okay, let me say this, man, because I hear people say that pretty often. It's like, oh, a life was lost. Let me go ahead and let everybody know, man, people die every single day around the world, throughout the country. It's estimated, I think, like over 100,000 die every single day. So let's not get caught up on one story and say, hey, 1 person, 2 people lost their lives. So did many, many other that are not going to get this shine. To me, Mikey, I'm kind of like, if somebody comes on your property, right? And I know there's laws, right? But if somebody comes on your property with malice, with bad intentions, to me personally, and I know it's not the law, but to me personally, I think it's kind of fair game. What's kind of sad? Did you ever watch that movie Felon with Steven Dorff?
Oh, absolutely. That was a good one.
Like, why did that man have to go to prison, right? Like, somebody broke into his house. He chased them out, still on the property, right? And he happened to swing the bat and kill the man. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's different details. To me, details matter. It's not just clear cut. Details matter, because you can't have, some kid kick the ball onto your yard, so he jumps the fence to grab the ball, and then you come out and you shoot him. Like, you can't, oh, he was still on my property. Like, no. Details definitely matter. So if she goes in there, like I said, did she just go in there to whack them? Or did she go in there to threaten them, get out of my pad, and they refused to? I think this is going to work in her favor. The fact that she called law enforcement first and nothing happened, I think it's going to work in her favor. I'm kind of leaning towards her side, man.
Orale. And then a quick comment. Simpler Times said, see if you agree with this, Cholo Trucker. She deserves to be appointed jefa of the neighborhood watch.
Hey, look, man. I'll say this. It's I think there's a little bit, that's a joke, but there's a little bit truth to that, man. When you know there's a little bit of an iron fist that comes down, people tend to, shaping up a little bit more, man. So again, I'm leaning towards her side. Again, we don't know all the details that happen. If she just kicked in the door and started blasting, then maybe she needs to serve some sort of penalty to it. But like I said, as far as the details that we know, she called law enforcement. They didn't do anything according to what we know.
Yep.
She goes in there, 2 people die. I'm kind of leaning with her.
Okay.
I'm kind of leaning with her, man.
Okay, that's right, man. Again, Doña Carlota, now she's in custody. Hey, just like you said, this happens all the time. We're talking about it on the internet. It's surging across the internet, or at least on the Raza pages on the internet. But this could be an everyday occurrence in Mexico. This could be.
Where do you stand on it, Mikey?
I'm gonna say again. I hope when she goes through the legal process that they don't try to protect her with like. I hate when Mexico kind of copies every American law. AB 1333, I'm going to give you my answer right now. AB 1333 got shut down, Cholo. That was a bill in California that if you didn't try to run away from people invading your house, that you could get busted. You mentioned that dude Steven Dorff on Felon.
Yes.
That's what got him.
Yeah.
He said that they were telling him, why did you chase him with the baseball bat? Well, he climbed in my son's room, and that you should have let him go. I'm glad AB 1333 got let go. I stand with Doña Carlota. I'm going to just say it right now that it was, I don't know the situation like you said, but that it was some kind of situation where maybe they were being belligerent, and who knows what level they took it to that resulted in her grabbing the Fusca, coming back and going Rambo. And now she's in custody. But maybe this is an everyday thing in Mexico, and we're just trying to blow something up that's, like you said, it's unfortunate 2 people lost their lives, but the details matter.
Yeah, and it just says squatters. So we don't know what they were doing there. We don't know, maybe they were just looking for a place to stay, or maybe they were, partying up. I got no idea. What floors me is that law enforcement went there and nothing happened. I would like to know that interaction. I think that in court is really going to get the spotlight. Okay, the Judas went there. What happened? There had to be some sort of interaction. What was it? What happened? I think that is definitely going to kick the door open on this.
Doña Carlota is now internet famous. I mean, for not the best of situations, but she's going to get a lot of support from a lot of people, maybe people in her family that are on social media, probably got 100,000 shares, and maybe it'll cause more awareness to it, and she'll get leniency. There is 2 bodies that are going through funerals right now, but we don't know the details. What if they lunged at her when she came back in? When the police left, they lunged at her, and we don't know. But let's keep an eye for the update. Cholo Trucker, I want to respect your time. Gracias for coming in this Friday night. Real quick before you go, how's opening day? And are you that much of a baseball fan that you sit down in front of your TV for 4 hours?
Well, it's not 4 hours anymore now that they got the new rules implemented. Yeah, once upon a time, it could have took forever, man. But yeah, man, yeah, I like watching. I watch the playoffs regardless of any team that's in there. But ultimately, it's Dodger baseball, definitely, man, all the way. Do I watch every single game? No, I don't watch every single game. How many games do I actually sit down and watch from beginning to end? Out of 162 games, maybe about 80. Maybe about 80 games I'll actually sit down and watch from beginning to end. And a lot of the other games, I'll have it on like in the background and just kind of, see what's going on here and there as I'm doing things on my day. But if I go to the games, I'm definitely there. I'm all about it, man. I love it.
That's right. I get one. I go to one game a year, and I always take one of my kids.
Okay.
And yeah, so I've already gone a couple years in a row to Oracle. But you know what? Let's read this comment. Last comments of the night. It says the government provokes the situation, just like they let people just walk in and steal, later to arrest them because now law changed back to make government heroes. Just saying, in general, that the laws, they do change the laws, and it can cause obviously different effects. Sometimes they side with the assailant, sometimes they're more defense leaning. In this case, I don't know what's gonna happen to Doña Carlota, bro. How old is she from this photo? I mean, she's pushing 70. So I mean, they can't give her no 10, 15 years. Someone commented that they should give her 6 months and 6 months only. I mean, for 2 funerals, 6 months, depending the detail.
Yeah, but but then again, why? Okay, but why those funerals though? Why are those funerals? They were on her property. They were squatting. She tried to do the right thing. I'm not saying she's a good woman. Who knows, man? Maybe she's a dirtbag of a lady. I don't know.
What if she's a narco kingpin?
We don't know, man. She could be a complete B. You know what I mean? Maybe she's not liked or whatever. But what we do know is that she did contact law enforcement. That she did do. I don't know what the interaction was. She goes there, strapped up, lets them have it. What was the interaction right then and there? I don't know. Was there a conversation? Was there an argument? Was there a little bit of a struggle? Was there some sort of pushback? Yep. Did she just go in there and just start blasting? Don't know, man. But it also, bring awareness to squatters. Quit squatting around, Holmes.
And my last question to you before we get off this internet and start enjoying our weekend is, Cholo, does she deserve her own corrido?
I'm sure she'll get it. I'm sure she'll get it at some point. I'm sure.
El corrido de Doña Carlota.
I'm sure. You know what? Everybody look out for that. I'm sure she's gonna get it.
We got Cholo Trucker in the house. It's Friday night. Gracias, mi hermano. I appreciate you for joining the Chicano Hour on Friday night. Gente, do me a favor and subscribe over to Cholo Trucker's channel. Hermano, you have a safe and you have a blessed weekend. I will tap in with you, hermano.
Gracias, brother. Shout out to you. I appreciate you having me on. It's always a fun conversation. Shout out to everybody in the chat and everybody that watches in the car archives. You guys have a great night, and see you on the next one, brother.
Ándale. Remember what I always say? Mi beautiful linda raza, have a blessed weekend, but in the end, all you got is the memories.